Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, we're going to do another little Toronto Pro preview now that it's Friday. And we're just a couple days away from the show. We've got some more physique updates from some more of the guys. The first one we're going to start with here is John Jewett. So John posted these pictures. It looks like now he's a little bit fuller. He's had some carbs. The previous update, he looked a little flat. He still looked really conditioned, but he looked a little bit flat. This, to me, looks like he's starting to fill out a little bit. He's more vascular. You can see a little bit more fullness. He's one of the guys, you guys know this, that I think is going to be one of the front runners here. I sound like a broken record with the conditioning, I know. But I think at this show, and it's important in every show, but at this show, I feel like it's going to be especially important because, like I've mentioned, so many of these guys are just totally hit or miss with conditioning. So the guys that are consistent, I think, are the guys that are going to come out on top here. John being one of those guys. Now, another guy that we got a physique update from at just a couple days out, I believe this was taken at 4 days out, Tim Budeshiem. Speaking of conditioning, I mean, this guy also looks ripped, full, grainy. I don't know what, maybe not the most pleasing physique, maybe not the most aesthetic guy. But he certainly looks like he's going to be dangerous here. Like I said, I was surprised at the New York Pro that he placed as low as he did, 7th place. He's a big dude. He comes in shape. And like I said, maybe it's just that he's not the most aesthetically pleasing guy. Doesn't have the best flow, but he's big and he comes in ripped. And maybe on stage he doesn't look as ripped as he does in some of these pictures online. But, looking at this lineup so far, he's one of the more impressive guys. I would say, honestly, him and John are probably the only two guys that I've looked at their physique updates and I was like, wow, these guys are both ripped. The other guys look good, but I would say John and Tim are the two guys that have stood out the most to me as far as condition. When I see these updates, I'm like, wow, these guys are in really good shape. This is going to be a really good show because you've got them and you've got these bigger guys, not necessarily known for the best conditioning, but you're going to have a lot of really cool, I feel, apples and oranges comparisons in these callouts. Now, I also saw some updates today from a guy named Strand. He's also doing this pro show, and his updates were pretty impressive. To me, he's just got kind of a weird-looking physique. I don't really know how to describe it, but I saw these updates. He looked like he's in pretty good shape, and actually, he was 4th at last year's Toronto Pro, so just on paper, he should be a first call-out guy here in the top 6. And I believe at last year's New York Pro, he was top 10. I think he was 8th. Yeah, he was 8th at last year's New York Pro. So he looks like his conditioning is pretty good. He looks like he's going to be coming in ripped. But like I said, just kind of just a little bit of an awkward-looking physique. I don't know. Maybe you guys could describe it in the comments down below. He looks like he's got a good amount of muscle, but I guess his proportions to me look kind of off. His arms look a little bit big compared to his chest and shoulders, especially in that crab most muscular. I don't really know how to describe it. I guess, yeah, the proportions look kind of off. In that back shot, his glutes look like disproportionately big. Maybe it's just the angle. I don't know. Something to me, just weird proportions, I guess. But he still could be one of the guys that rises towards the top end of this lineup. Like I've said, it's kind of a mismatched lineup. There's not a really clear front runner in this thing that we can just say, oh, this guy's going to win for sure. It's a lot of very different physiques, a lot of guys that maybe haven't even won a show, a lot of guys that have won a show. It's an interesting mix of guys, and I think a very, very difficult one to predict. Now, next up in the news, this is the latest update that we've got from Hassan Mustafa, this time a picture instead of a video. And honestly, I'll give him a little bit of credit for this picture. I think he looks a little bit better as far as conditioning. I mean, if you look at his chest, you can see some deeper, more noticeable striations in this picture. If you look at his shoulders, you can see some striations, some vascularity throughout the arms. But I'm still looking at the midsection. I feel like it looks a little bit cloudy. He's crunched down. I mean, he's flexing his abs, and he's got the shadows working to his advantage in this pose, but it still doesn't look like super diced up. You look at his legs. Obviously, he's got huge quads. I mean, very impressive lower body. Still not really seeing like this crazy deep separation. You're definitely not seeing cross striations on the quads. And honestly, I feel like even at other shows where Hassan has been in more impressive conditioning, or even some of the ones where he wasn't that conditioned, I feel like vascularity-wise, he used to have like really crazy vascularity in his arms and forearms. And maybe he's just not full here. Maybe he just hasn't had a lot of carbs, but I'm not seeing that from him this time. And I feel like we've seen these crazy vascular pictures of Hassan before, and I'm just not seeing it for some reason. Again, maybe he's just not filled out yet, but I don't know. I will give him a little credit for this update. Like I said, you look at his chest, you can see some deeper striations. You're starting to see some more striations in the shoulders, but the way that he's hiding his midsection in this pose, and the way that even though he's crunched down, flexing his abs, he's got shadows, like I said, working to his advantage, I'm still kind of seeing that midsection cloudiness, and you're really not seeing those deep separations in the legs, even though he's positioning them to flex them in the most muscular. I mean, make no mistake, they are flexed in this pose. But who knows? He is doing the Vancouver show, which is a little bit down the line, so maybe this is just kind of a warm-up show for him, and he's planning on really hitting his peak for Vancouver, which is like over a month away still. He's got some more time for that one, because to me, honestly, I think most people are agreeing with this, that he doesn't really look 2 days out here. And I think what we'll see, because he's not really showing his hamstrings, he's not really showing his glutes, I think we're going to see a little bit of distension in his midsection. We're probably not going to see striated glutes. We're probably not going to see deep separations in the hamstrings. He might look pretty decent from the sides and from the front, is what I'm thinking, because he's got this, like I said, his legs are crazy huge, so in a little bit of condition from the side, he's got this crazy hanging hamstring. From the side, his upper body obviously looks really thick, really solid. You can kind of hide the midsection a little bit in a pose like the side chest, but I'm guessing some of the back shots are going to be weak for him conditioning-wise. He might look good, like I said, in like a front most muscular side shots, but I think he's going to struggle from the back, and probably in a pose like a front double bicep or a front lat spread, probably not the prettiest poses for him either, considering his shape. I would say, based on what we've seen so far, I like Akeem, I like John, and I like Tim for top 3. Not necessarily in that order, and I feel like Hassan will be like battling for 3rd or 4th potentially. But based on these updates, I'm thinking Akeem, Tim, and John. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, we got a physique update, however very brief, from Neckzilla Rubiel Mascara. Now, he's supposedly going to be competing in the Dubai Pro, which is going to be at the end of July. And hopefully we do see him compete, because like I've harped on many times, he has this track record of not showing up when he says he's going to compete. Both Arnold Classics and the New York Pro, prime examples of that. And I'm told he said like some reasons, he said some excuses, but still, 3 big shows back to back to back like that, not doing them. You know, they're all different time frames, they're all different locations. The excuse can't be that great. So this would put him a little under 2 months out from that Dubai Pro in this video. Now again, you really don't see much here. He actually like kind of just ends the video right before he probably starts posing. But he is at Oxygen Gym in this video, which is interesting because he's already a freak. I'm imagining he's going to get even freakier continuing to train at Oxygen Gym. But I actually think he will show up at this Dubai Pro. I'm just taking it with a little bit of a grain of salt. I think a lot of people actually are going to show up and do this Dubai show. Frankly, I think we're going to be surprised. A show that has 6-figure prize money for first place is no joke. And my point with Rubiel is if you've got a guy that's really inconsistent like Rubiel, blowing off really major shows, Arnold Classics, New York Pros, but he commits to showing up to this Dubai show, and it's probably because the money is ridiculous, even though the Arnold was a lot more. But my point is, if you've got a guy like that, and he does actually show up and compete, imagine how many other guys will probably do the same. I mean, we've got all these shows coming up. There's a lot of shows before then, and there's a lot of shows after then, in between that show and the Olympia. And there's a lot of guys that still need to qualify for the Olympia, and a lot of guys that we already know are competing in some of these shows leading up to the Dubai show. Because keep in mind, not only is the prize money for the Dubai show crazy for first place, but the other placings too. So yes, first place gets 100 grand, second place gets 40, third gets 15, fourth gets 5, and fifth gets 2,000. So if you're second place, that's like winning 2 or 3 pro shows to get second at this Dubai show. Third place, 15 grand. That's like winning a regular pro show. That's probably like winning this Toronto show that's coming up if you get third in Dubai. So I have a feeling this lineup is going to turn out to be pretty good. It's closer to the Olympia, so the people that are kind of, maybe waited a little bit too long to qualify, if they haven't already, I think this is where they're going to jump in. Now, the final story that I've got for you guys today, a lot of people have been talking about this clip from the Olympia battle. There's been a lot of interesting clips that came out from the Olympia battle. Honestly, I didn't watch the whole thing. It was hours long, so I'm just looking at the clips because I did feel like parts of it were just kind of cringe. Although parts of it were fun to watch. But this particular part, let me roll the clip for you guys here.
That's all I got to say. This is really the Olympia battle. I'm just here to have fun. This is really the Olympia battle for third place.
He's talking a lot.
Hey, hold on. They keep talking about Nick being third place. Samson got third last year, so all I'm saying is this is a battle for third place.
Yeah, but you won't be first this year.
That's all I'm saying.
With the way I'm seeing you train, you won't be first this year.
That's all I got to say. This is really the Olympia battle. I'm just here to have fun. This is really the Olympia battle for third place.
He's talking a lot.
Hey, hold on. They keep talking about Nick being third place. Samson got third last year, so all I'm saying is this is a battle for third place.
Yeah, but you won't be first this year.
That's all I'm saying.
With the way I'm seeing you train, you won't be first this year.
So in this clip, Derek says to Nick Walker and Samson Dauda, I'm just here to have fun. Because I feel like for you guys, this is a battle for third place. And obviously he's implying that neither of them are in the contention to win the show. Nick Walker was third in 2022. Samson was third in 2023. And so people were saying, oh, Derek took it too far. It's disrespectful. Frankly, I think Derek's right. I don't disagree with Derek, and I don't think he was being disrespectful. I mean, you look at Samson, for example. He's switching coaches, but he had some trouble in 2024. Hadi beat him decisively back-to-back this year. So it's kind of hard to imagine that Samson's going to come back at the Olympia and whoop Hadi and be second or even win, because he's going to have to beat Hadi to be in a position where he's facing Derek, supposedly. And after Hadi decisively beat him back-to-back at both Arnolds, I just don't see the argument for Samson winning this year's Olympia. Because look, let's face it, Hadi whooped him twice this year. Now, Nick Walker is a little bit different, because I think some people have made the argument that Samson wouldn't have even been top 3 at the Olympia last year had Nick been there. So it's important to keep in mind, Nick wasn't at last year's Olympia. So maybe he would have been top 3 again, or maybe even higher had he been there. You can't make that same argument for Samson because he was there and he got third. He couldn't beat Hadi. He went to both Arnold, still couldn't beat Hadi. But with Nick, it is a little bit different because he wasn't there in 2023, so we don't know how he would have done in that top 3. But again, frankly, he's coming off of an injury. Granted, I think he looked fine considering the hamstring injury in New York. I think he looked good in New York. But you've also got to consider the fact that he almost got beat. He did. He almost got beat by Martin Fitzwater. Martin, who's newer than Nick and has never been to the Olympia as an open bodybuilder. He almost beat Nick. So even though Nick won, he qualified, he looked good, he came back from his injury, he almost got beaten by a guy that's never even qualified for the Olympia until this year. So again, it's tough in that case to make the argument that Nick is going to beat Derek or win the Olympia this year when he almost couldn't beat a guy that's never been to the Olympia. It's kind of a stretch. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What's your top 3 at the Olympia going to be this year? And actually, I'm thinking back now to my Toronto Pro segment earlier in this video where I was talking about the top 3. I totally forgot about Quint Beastwood. So my top 3. I'm still thinking John. I'm still thinking Akeem will be in the top 3. I want to change that to say Quentin will be in the top 3. I said Tim before, right? And then Tim and Hassan. Let's say Tim and Hassan battling for like the 4th and 5th place spots. But yeah, my top 3 Toronto, not necessarily in that order, but John, Quentin, and Akeem. And then like peripherally, I think Hassan and Tim. That's better. I like that better. So we'll end the video there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. Alright guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also check out my Instagram at NICKS&P, my Facebook page, which is simply NICKS&P, my secondary YouTube channel, NICKS&Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, NICKS&Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a NICKS&P t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.